Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hyrule Chronicles Legend of Zelda D&D campaign run by me, ArticulateT. This is episode 89, and with me as always, playing Renji Vox, I have another lad.
Hello.
Playing Kaikuana, I have Alvarez.
You know we've been doing this for about 4 years?
I know. Oh.
It becomes suddenly less impressive when one realizes that I do one game every 2 weeks.
No, it's still impressive. I've been playing the same campaign for 4 years.
Yeah,
It's impressive.
we're almost at the 100.
Yeah. Playing Zaiden Shari, I have Rubber Pirate.
Hello there.
And playing Max, I have Keistrith.
Hello.
So, hold on. What's this? Ah, I knew it. Craig, I knew it. I just looked down at my taskbar. I was like, you have a Discord message. What is this?
Damn it, Craig.
He's still in the chat. No, even I'm still in the voice channel, no recording is taking place. Okay, alright. So we'll get this eventually. It's good that it started at the start of the thing. Leave. Don't you lie to me.
Return to us.
Greg. Stop. Alright. Begin.
Navi, you shut the fuck up and listen for a change.
There you go.
There we go. I just right clicked and had him disconnect. Record general.
Now recording.
Right.
Have one job.
Okay. So now that let's see what happened last time, folks.
Last time. The Storm's Eye, with newfound companion Kai, travel to the Blackmoore castle. There they find a cloaked figure wearing the insignia of the Sovereign Hand. Approaching cautiously, the Storm's Eye engages in conversation with a man who introduces himself as a doctor from Masro, wearing the cloak of the Sovereign Hand to falsely show allegiance to the cult for his own safety. He mentions that there's a sickness going around, and he believes it originated within this ruined castle. After a night's rest, the party goes to investigate the castle. They find a lot of fungal mold and several corpses of wolves that seem to be infected with Goma, a parasitic aberration. The wolves attack and more Goma appear from a well in the castle courtyard, which are quickly dispatched as Zaiden turns into a fire elemental to burn out this infection. And I believe that's where we left off.
Indeed. We rejoin our companions as they, as a period of calm had come over the castle courtyard, and in turn, a distinct lack of more parasitic Goma signals that maybe they've learned enough not to walk through a living embodiment of fire,
Maybe.
allowing for Kai to block the entrance to the well that they were escaping from with some rubble. But from the sounds of chittering and clicks and whistles that come from below, it certainly sounds like there's quite a lot more that remain down there. What do you plan on doing?
I believe the plan was Sidon was going to go down below and see if they can find any evidence of why there is such a massive colony here.
Okay.
And also any evidence of what might have occurred here after the vision.
All right. So, using your fire elemental form, I believe that you have the capability to squeeze through space and squeeze through very small spaces, given that you are essentially living energy.
Yes.
Yeah. So you won't need the well to be reopened for you, which is very useful.
Quite.
Yes. So.
I also find it funny, a fire elemental has dark vision, but also gives off light.
Yeah, it does.
You get a
That
dark
is
vision,
odd.
and you get a dark vision.
So, let's see. Yes. That is weird. Why does it have? I don't know. Just
Everything has dark vision.
everything must have dark vision,
Except cats.
except cats.
Which
Yeah.
have it in real life.
Yeah. So, you descend into the well, and as you do, you follow the passage down for a good 10 feet before it reaches a very kind of rough canal that seems to run underneath Blackmoore. It's not the most impressive of streams. The actual tunnel that this water runs through appears to be about 3 feet in diameter. So even then, it's kind of even if you could go down there as a normal person, there's not really much hope of you getting through unless you were as small as a mini Blin or a Deku Scrub or something like that.
Shouldn't our party's gone the other way in size?
Yeah, if only that way was not completely blocked off by rubble. But you move down the tunnels, and as you do, you can see the briefest glimpse of orange eyes staring back at you. And as you approach in that direction, they blink a couple times before skittering off back down the tunnel. And following them, you find that there appears to be a fairly sizable hole in the wall to the subterranean parts of Blackmoore Castle. And as you peer inside, you just see a canvas of these singular orange eyes staring back at you, met with a cacophonous, hideous chorus of insectoid clicks and squeals and screeches. Ordinarily they would not be too loud, but the sheer number of them is causing this awful sounding effect. It's only by virtue of the fact that you know that in your current form they can essentially do you next to no harm, no matter how multitudinous they are. And because of your nature, or like your physical nature, as well as the Goma's hive mind, having been made aware of what you were while you were up on the surface, they decidedly give you something of a wide berth. But they're all watching you, all anticipating what you might do in this kind of animalistic survival instinct. But you are now underneath Blackmoore Castle. You can see glimpses of old banners and artwork carved into the stone that hasn't been covered by mold or swallowed by this tide of Goma. You can see little etchings of like either graffiti by the soldiers who are like counting down the days or something along those lines. You can see the rotted remains of old banners of the symbol of Hylia without the Triforce at the top. You can see the rusted remnants of spare equipment, but it's difficult to say what might occur, especially within this one room. There are other passageways that go forward, so if you wish to continue and look for various different things, I would like you to roll for me an investigation check and tell me what it is that you're looking for first.
Investigation. Oh no, I won't be able to cast guidance. Ooh, a 7. I don't think it matters what I was looking for then.
Well, no, tell me what it is you're looking for. It just might take you a while.
Probably would want to start with where the source of all of these is, since I vaguely recall from last time there being some reason that there shouldn't even be this many here.
Okay. So, resolve to find the source of the Goma. You begin your hunt through the area. What makes this difficult in particular is not necessarily like a lack of perceptive ability. It's more just there are so many Goma and there's so much fungal growth all over the walls that you have to spend some time kind of moving through things and pushing, trying to peer around things before you attempt to touch them, because the moment you touch them it goes up in flames and then there's a different problem in your hands. But it takes you roughly one hour before you eventually find something that doesn't seem to match what you remember of the Blackmoore while you saw it while it was alive, and what you can see of what remains of it now. You see what appears to be a small collection of Hylian corpses that seem to be around a collection of crates. These crates in particular seem to have been broken, and after a good amount of time examining things before just physically touching them, you can only make a guess that these crates were broken from the inside. The corpses themselves not only seem mummified, but their parts of their body seem deformed, as if to make way for a new Goma eye, as they too were likely taken over by the parasite. But what remains of their garb and their equipment does not portray anybody who had dwelt within Blackmoore Castle. Roll for me an insight, if you can.
Yes, 16.
You can assume that potentially, at least from what you can see here, that whoever these people were, while you don't know exactly who they were or where they came from or why they decided to settle in Blackmoore Castle, it's possible that they just had no idea what they were carrying. They may have just taken a lot of supplies into Blackmoore in order to settle here, to see if they could use the abandoned castle for their own ends, only to find that within their supplies was Goma lava or something of that variety, and then they too were affected by it. It might also be possible that they were aiming to research on the Goma and it just didn't go correctly. There's a multitude of reasons, but you don't believe, judging by how ill prepared it looks like they were for this level of infestation, that it was done out of malice. At least you don't think so, but you might need some more information at a different point. It's just a pity that the entire place is crawling with the bastard things to that, and that prevents you from properly dedicating a good amount of research to it.
Okay. I believe the other thing to look for was what happened kind of following our vision.
Give me another investigation check.
9.
Okay.
That's no in German.
This one takes you about 2 hours. You move through the underground areas. What you do manage to find by this point is you manage to find your way to what would have been the entrance back up to the main area of the castle, that you could have gone to if it were not for the rubble. It seems a massive chunk of it, like a massive chunk of stone, has come loose from the wall and parts of it from the ceiling that has just cut off this entire entrance. And you can see that beneath this stone appears to be one errant limb of a being that has been trapped underneath the rubble. Whether or not the person passed before the rubble landed on top of them is a different matter entirely. However, through your investigations, it doesn't appear that there's anything worthwhile within this particular area. At least nothing that you can glean that would be supremely helpful. Because you recall from the vision, it was a group of mages who were trying to put in as much magical energy into several sizable orbs in order to what they believe could potentially be a sealing spell. This is further made. This is further proof of this was found on the island when you got there, because you found several statues holding some of these orbs. A couple of them were missing. And whatever it was trying to seal, likely the big bad that you had encountered in that vision, chances are that thing has now escaped. At least that's what you can assume. There are a series of containers with like rather ancient clay kind of. I think the best thing I can describe as an equivalent is, you know how you get those like clay pot vase things that they use for mummification in the movies and whatnot, where it's like, yeah, this is contained.
A canopic jar.
That's the one. Yeah, you find things that are shaped like that. They're not supremely ornamental. They don't have like figureheads on it or inscribed with anything on top of them, but a couple of them seem to have been broken open, and within them is nothing but this same kind of grey dust. It's possible you could probably try and pick one of the still sealed ones up, but whether or not it will survive the trip back is an entirely different thing, because you can get it up to the top of the well, but then you would need to remove a stone in order to retrieve it from the well. But then you are a fire elemental, and the Gomu are currently scared of you, so it's possible you could make that transfer before any of them escape.
I don't think so at the moment.
Okay.
Was there anything? I forgot what else was I looking for. Is there anything else?
Let's see. You were so you came down to see what the cause of the infestation was, which you found. You came to see whether or not there was any additional information to glean from the vision that you had, which you kind of didn't. You found like what could potentially be magical reagents, but that would require much more dedicated kind of looking into it sort of thing. Unfortunately, whatever documentation might be there was probably be so old as to have rotted away, and what might have survived you can't physically pick up right now.
Yeah. guess it's time to head back up.
Okay. So, you wind your way back through the rooms beneath Blackmoore, finding your way back to that small little hole in the wall. Each of the innumerable Goma larvae watching you leave, and eventually
I'll wave goodbye.
you don't know if they wave back. You don't know if they can. You move your way back through the well and eventually back out into the daylight, as this kind of plume of flame that emerges from the rubble of the well. The rest of you see this as your companion returns after what would be about 3 hours.
Okay, well, Biden will use the telepathic link with Renji and inform him of what he has found below.
So I'll relay that to the others. I'm not going to embellish it or anything.
Max's 3 hours of angry pacing finally stopped.
Alright, you got some of that, you got enough of the specimens there, Doc? We don't need to go get one of the Goma? 'Cause I could kind of scrape some of it off my hammer if you need it, but...
No, I think it's perfectly fine. If it is a Goma parasite...
Goma parasite, we gotta head to the village sooner rather than later.
Yes, we do. There is one individual I would like to stop in with at appropriate time. There's a small research station just on the northern shore of Lake Hylia. I believe if you are heading in that direction, it would be a good idea if you were to accompany me to that station before heading towards the Hylia settlement, or even Mazro itself.
What kind of person is that?
The research station?
The person at the research station, yes.
Oh, older gentleman. Rather decrepit, rather eccentric, though, but has a good head on his shoulders. I think the solitude has eaten away at some of his sanity, in a sense. From what I understand, he's been alone for quite a long time.
Well, what stature? Like, small, large? We saw some tracks when we came here.
Tracks indicate I'm very small.
Oh no, he's about my height, if a bit shorter because of his slouch. I don't think that, at least in recent memory, he would have left that research station. He's not of an age to go adventuring, you see.
Very well.
The entire reason we came this way is because we're looking for someone.
Oh really?
We think the tracks might be them.
Any other details that you might be able to provide?
I look at Renji for that.
Young. A young woman.
Okay.
Hylian.
Blonde.
Interestingly enough, Sophia has black hair.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if Max has ever seen her, so he won't be able to describe her.
You might have caught the briefest glimpse of her when Maximus kidnapped her.
Yeah. That's it. He probably wouldn't remember because he was a bit distracted at the time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, something else might have.
He was busy punching himself in the face.
Stop hitting yourself. Stop hitting yourself.
Max has never heard these words before and does not know what you mean.
That's fair. Yeah, we'll leave that in.
Yeah. Dr. Marshall will just kind of nod a bit and say, I haven't encountered anyone of that variety, but I will certainly keep an eye out. If they did head southwards, then it's entirely possible they must have gone to the research station themselves, if they haven't made their way to the Hylia settlement a little further south. is the only sign of civilization, but the state that the settlement is in, considering the disease, it would be a wonder if they found anything amenable.
I see. What is the quickest route to Mazro? Is that through the settlement, or?
The safest would be through the settlement, because then you would be rejoining the road, but the quickest would be as the crow flies. As far as I can see, we would have to go by way of the research station anyway. It is the closest to a footbridge that heads over the river that runs from the north. Afterwards, it would simply be an overland travel across plains and maybe through some trees to get to Mazro on foot. But as said, the safest route would be by the road, because then at least the road is being watched by guards.
Seems, yeah, that seems the wisest, I suppose.
If that's the plan, you've got an excuse for something, given that you didn't feel safe enough to not leave without that cloak there, for why you're suddenly coming back with 5 strangers.
Well, depends. It's
Which reminds me, I'd better discuss. Oh.
If it makes you feel comfortable, I know that from what you have told me of the other activities of this cult, then if you wish to arrive at different intervals, then I would not be against it. As for an excuse, well, the road can be busy, to and from. It is entirely possible that we just happen to be traveling in the same direction.
That reminds me. Doctor, have you seen stones with this marking? And I show him the back of my cloak of protection. The Shika eye.
Stones, you say?
Yes.
What roll is that?
That would be I think it's a general intelligence to see whether or not he remembers it.
Okay, I will also make a general intelligence check. Hey,
Nice.
I've seen gossip stones.
Yeah. So yeah, Dr. Marshall would say that there is at least one that sat on the side of the road between Hylia and Mazro, because he also rolled a 20 on his intelligence.
All right.
As far as any others that he's seen, no. He just kind of assumed it was a road marker.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough. Thank you. I'll keep watch for it.
Very well. If we are to leave this place, then I shall gather my things and we will head off, if that is all right with all of you.
Seems fair, yes.
Okay. After about half an hour's worth of packing his things, Marshall puts on his Mazro brand cult robes again, puts the backpack on, which covers most of the symbol, which probably helped not have him be stopped by guards on the way there, and will then follow your lead. He will, however, give directions on what way to go in order to get to the research station in question. Did anybody have anything they needed or wanted to do before they left Blackmoore Castle?
Titan's going to turn back into human.
Okay.
Good idea.
And comment on his displeasure that environmentals still have a sense of smell.
Yeah,
I see.
it did not smell great. Oh no, it was awful. But yes. So you make your way. not too far of a trip, thankfully speaking. For the most part, you manage to get to. You move through some of the marshy kind of area that exists at the bottom of this slope that Blackmoore has been placed atop with its back against this small mountain. It's odd because the last time that you were there was certainly much more life to be had, even if it was this kind of marshy, tree-filled area. Or at least when you were here in the vision, it was. But then, as you kind of leave the area of Blackmoore, and head out onto more open plains, you can see just over the horizon this glimmering expanse of water that you can only assume to be Lake Hylia. The Great Lake itself is just immense in its size and its varied ecology. It's hard to describe, but even still, at this distance, you can just see it is a rather pretty lake. to put it mildly, it is a rather pretty lake. As you get further and move further and further to the southwest, you can see, perched on a small cliff top with a small dock at the bottom near the water, is this singular building, this one brick building with blue shingle roof that sits overlooking the rest of Lake Hylia. Dr. Marshall will point out, just raise a hand and point and say, "That would be the research station over there."
You said you wish to discuss the matters with the researcher?
If possible, yes. He might. Before long, I hadn't had much of an idea that it was Goma. He didn't either, but now that we have something of a foothold, then maybe he might have some better idea. He is quite a formidable medic, even if he is not the type to actually treat anyone. And of course, you are free to ask questions of your own. If he has seen this missing person of yours, then by all means, it would be wise to get that information from him too. As he leads you over, you can see that next to the research station there are a couple of small patches of tilled earth. Standing in the center of them, you can see what appears to be two, a scarecrow per spot, just standing idle, arms outstretched atop a pole, just staring out over the lake. Dr. Marshall just kind of moves past them and heads up to the door. And the moment he gets there, he just kind of goes... And from inside you can hear... Yes? Dr. Windle? Who is it? It's Dr. Marshall. Can we speak? Yes, hold on. And just kind of, after a brief moment, you can hear... from the sounds of it, the unlocking of 10 separate different latches and locks on this door, before eventually the door opens and kind of hunched forward is this is this stick-thin man with, like, Hylian man with long face, graying hair. He wears a blue vest over a white kind of gown, and has like a blue hat to go with it. And he looks at Dr. Marshall and he narrows his eyes briefly, just kind of tilting his head back so he can catch him in his spectacles. He says, "Oh, yes, Dr. Marshall. Yes, it's good to see you. Ah, I see you've brought company." And Dr. Marshall say, yes. If it is possible, may we come in? There has been a development in the research. Oh, of course. Come in. Dr. Windle, from what you can understand, moves back to allow Dr. Marshall inside, who enters accordingly. Do you enter inside as well?
Might as well, yes.
Okay. Right. So you head on inside. You can see that this research station is, well, at the very least, it's kind of like a very upscale sort of thing. There's tiled floors and walls. At the far end of the room appears to be a nice big tank, filled to the brim with fresh water. The shelves are lined with bottles and instruments and books as far as the eye can see. And there's like different like aquatic animal diagrams that are just sat on the wall, having kind of like with this illustrated dissection of what is contained within these creatures and all these different scientific notes. As the last of you enters, Dr. Windle closes the door and he turns around. He has his hands behind his back as he kind of examines each and every one of you with a great amount of scrutiny. He says, rather an eclectic group of characters here, isn't it? Yes.
Max looks him dead in the eyes.
He meets your gaze and he doesn't seem to flinch.
He's a dragon.
It's entirely possible that despite his attempt to look through his spectacles, he can't actually see your eyes.
Also very possible.
Don't
be intimidated if you can't see what's intimidating.
But Dr. Marshall just kind of like takes his backpack off his back and puts it to one side and like, lowers his hood. Says, excellent. Yes, these would be associates of mine. We met at the Blackmoore castle while I was conducting research. I did get your names, didn't I?
As far as I can tell, Renji hasn't given his name, but
Kai would have given his name because Kai is a friendly individual and it's like, try to be nice.
Yeah.
Whether or not anyone else does, Kai's like, I'm the new guy, so.
Max would only have given his name if specifically asked for it.
Yeah. Yes. As Dr. Marshall says, I was hoping we have discovered something of a rather troubling nature. It will take some time to discuss it, but so before I do, he turns to you and is like, would you be wanting to ask him of any other questions that you might have?
I was wondering,
Yes?
have the Sovereign Hand made any contact here?
Sovereign Hand? Oh, Sovereign Hand. Marshall speaks up and says, that would be the cult that has taken over the village I hail from. Say, oh, no. Haven't seen hide nor hair of them. Couldn't be bothered with them, to be honest. I'm not exactly one to be sold on ideas of religious fervor. It's partly why so many locks on the door, you see. Can't be bothered. Dr. Marshall was like, yeah, well, I guess that's your answer then.
So?
Mara will just kind of look to the others and say, so, we were actually looking for somebody. a young woman, early to mid-teens, black hair, about this height, and she kind of indicates, and Dr. Windle just kind of like thinks a moment, says, young girl. Oh, yes, you must be talking about my new assistant, recent at least. You must mean Zelda. Yes, she's currently away at the moment on a bit of a research mission thing.
Could you hold? You said Zelda?
Yes.
Could you describe her?
Well, about this height, and mimics Mara's height indication. Says, black hair, short though. The fair features, kind of, arrived at the very least when we first met. She was in a rather expensive-looking dress that had been run through the wringer, I believe. But we helped with some more practical clothes if she was determined to help out around here. She's been here for just over a week now.
All right, that's quite something. You said she's on an errand.
Yes.
Where did she go?
She went to one of the central islands in Lake Hylia. She wanted to see whether or not this thing that myself and the good doctor here were investigating had spread out over the water, as it seems. She took one of the rowboats and went out there this morning. Has been gone for a couple of hours now, actually.
I see.
Has it been explained that we're looking for the Princess Takai?
Probably.
I don't know.
It's sort of our primary objective, so I figured we would have told him. Rather just, hey, Kai, we're going this direction. Good luck.
I think I remember there being at least one point where you had taken Kai aside and said, we are on business from the crown at some point. Which might have contained the looking for Princess Sophitia information that
is absolutely valid, but it is also something that we definitely, like, out of character, did forget.
That's fair.
As he's listening to this, is going to shake his head facing downwards and mumble in Goron, she picked Zelda as a big thing.
Does Max hear this?
I would assume Max can, because if
Max,
this is the
Max
important
will mutter to you, why is that important in Goron?
to look like anyone else is speaking Goron.
Not me.
I can't.
Neither Marshall nor Windle can, and you don't know whether or not Mara can.
Well, Mara's part of the group, so...
Yeah.
Alright, so here's the thing. Zelda is a name and royalty type of thing, keeps coming up, so it's kind of painting a target on your back if you're hiding, and you're saying your name is Zelda. Like, I get some people might put it as a different name there, but it's just... feels more kind of like sticking a thumb out and just saying, hey, look at me type of thing, if that's what you're going by when you're trying to hide.
Okay.
Because there's lots of Zeldas and a lot of history stories and stuff like that. A leader of the sages and old princesses. One of the people that brought you Hylian folk back down from the heavens. And
The what?
oh boy.
Also, this might be very out there as a question. Does the the Goron language share phonology with Hylian?
Yes, was Draconic, I believe, was the thing we discussed before.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, I wouldn't be able to hear like them saying Zelda a lot.
Well, I imagine that, like, for
Proper
most...
nouns probably sound the same.
Yeah, proper nouns
I mean,
probably sound
yeah,
the same,
it could be.
That's usually how it is in most languages.
Yeah, well, it's more like in the sense, like, if you have a loan word, it gets pronounced with the then like the current language's phonemes. So if you have like an English loan word in Japanese, it sounds kind of like the word, but not quite. So it might be difficult to pick up what it means.
It might also be that, but also remember that Max's first language is Hylian,
That is fair.
not Japanese.
Not Japanese. Okay, then I would probably be able to hear like you saying Zelda quite often, but just not understanding what you're talking about.
Yeah.
There's probably a Goron word that you've heard at a title for Darunia, because we don't really have a royal family that's being used to kind of mean royals or stuff like that, but that's probably about it if you don't know Goron.
Yeah. Dr. Windle just kind of like, as you're kind of just talking amongst yourselves, he says, well, it is early to mid-afternoon, so, I usually when she goes out on errands like this, she doesn't come back for quite some time. So if you wish to speak to her in earnest, then you are more than welcome to use one of the two rowboats that are currently moored at the dock just outside to reach her. There is really only one island in Lake Hylia that might be worth investigating, so to speak. But otherwise,
I would gladly take you up on that offer. Yes, thank you.
Is there a southwardly wind, out of curiosity? And does the foldable boat that we still haven't used yet have a sail?
It does.
It does. So if I say 1 is north on this D8, north, northwest, west, southwest. There is a southwesterly wind.
Oh, that would be easy.
Yeah. So there is a wind that would be beneficial to you heading out to the island itself.
Right. Now, we did pick up some neat tricks on our boat, on our seafaring journey, but I'm not certain if that would allow me to actually sail a ship, like still a boat by myself.
I think between the lot of you, you would be able to do it.
Okay. Let's see. Mast with a square sail for the ship configuration.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we can do that. Holds up to 15 medium creatures comfortably. Otherwise, it would be 4 medium creatures.
Okay, that's fine. While Mara will accompany the 4 of you on this trip out into the water, Dr. Marshall will stay behind and confer with Dr. Windle over the particulars of this situation in regards to the Goma. As you venture outside, you make your way to the edge of the dock. You unfold the boat with the command word, and all hop aboard. And
Shippy McShipface.
oh dear. And you sail outwards into the lake. And it doesn't take you long to find the island in question. In fact, chances are, shortly after you have left dock, it pops up over the horizon, and you're able to just kind of carry on. and see it for all of its glory. It's not a terribly big island, and it has but one tree. But as you get closer and closer, you can see that there is a figure standing next to that tree, just kind of examining it, and there is a singular rowboat that has been kind of dragged up onto the shore of the island itself, and just kind of bobs a little bit as a light wave kind of pushes against it. As you get closer and closer, the figure on the island notices the sailed boat that is heading their way, and cautiously kind of backs away from the tree. And
as I notice the figure, I will try and get as close to the prow.
Mhm.
And I will kind of hold out my cloak to show the symbol of the Sheikah Eye.
Okay. Let's see how good their perception is. Pretty good, actually.
She's a long-haired Hylian. She could have skills in it.
Correct.
But yeah. So you as you get close, she the figure kind of stops and looks. You can see that this figure is in turn is wearing a cloak with a hood, and you can see that they lean forward slightly, and after a moment seem to recognize the symbol, as they don't seem to make any attempt to flee or prepare for combat or anything like that. But when you get closer and closer, you can see, dressed in very practical garb, is a young woman at the very least, with a long cloak with the hood over their face. But you can recognize, having Renji especially, since you've lived in the castle for quite some time, you can recognize like the lower jawline, and some facial features of one Princess Sophitia of Hyrule, who kind of like folds her arms and watches you as you get closer and closer, and I imagine stop the boat before it runs aground.
I mean, we can let it run aground. It's fine.
Yeah.
With people off, loading off, I'll just use the command word to fold it up again.
Okay. But yes, you run the ship aground. It's everyone disembarks, and as you leave and fold the ship up again, you turn to see Sophitia, who kind of looks over each of you warily, and eventually, after a moment, says, "So can I help you?"
We've been looking for you, Princess.
Ah, I see. Kind of like looks warily left and right, sees naught but water in all directions, and just kind of like
seeing her discomfort, I will kneel down in front of her, like go down on one knee, and say, "You have nothing to fear from us."
Like she was just about to raise her hands to remove the hood, and she sees you kind of kneel, and then just no, please stand up, please. No need for.
I will stand up.
No need for the kneeling. Mara, who was following suit with you, just kind of like also awkwardly stands up. She removes the hood, and you can see that it's not a great haircut. It very much looks like someone who has taken the long flowing black locks that she had into a bunch and then cut it with a sharp blade. But yeah, she looks over all of you and just kind of says, "How long have I was under the impression that Nihilus would be the one who would be looking for me."
He got
My
captured.
father, Nihilus was he was captured by Torquin. I believe you had been held captured by him, correct?
She kind of like, you've known Sophitia for a while. She's a kind of standoffish person, but as you mentioned that Nihilus had been captured, she kind of like, her eyes widen a bit over the instance, and then just kind of exhales a bit. Yes, I was captured by Torquin for at least a brief amount of time, but I manufactured my escape, and I made my way here.
Nihilus was not as resourceful.
Did he do anything to you?
Other than keep me in a rather cramped space and not feed me very much, no.
Good.
You speak of Nihilus in the past tense. Is he okay?
He is recuperating after trauma from his capture and imprisonment. He is alive. Last time we saw him, and he's headed to Kakariko village to recuperate.
That is good. I am glad that he is safe, or at least safer than he was. You have my apologies for the problems that might have been occurred with my capture.
This is not something you need to apologize for, Your Highness.
Still, I feel it is necessary. At least for my part.
I just nod and lower my eyes for a moment.
How did you find me here, though?
We employed some magic. It was tough to track you, but we are...
Most of it from getting off the mountain was done, and he kind of looks over at the rest of them. Good old-fashioned tracking. Followed footprints.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, I did not expect you to be apprenticing as a researcher's assistant. Certainly not with the name Zelda.
Kind of like puffs a sigh in frustration. I had been travelling for several days on foot by myself from the mountains over some marshy territory, and when I finally found one person who was not exactly of sound sight, I had struggled to come up with a pseudonym. It was the first name that came to mind. Thankfully, he did not seem to think of it otherwise, and after all, news of the disappearing princess is not of one of Princess Zelda. In fact, there has not been a Zelda since my grandmother.
That's quite fair. Still, anyone with a working knowledge of the Hyrulean royal family would find it a curious coincidence.
Curious indeed. But...
Fair, the only reason why I thought it was curious is because I knew who we were looking for and the pseudonym that they used.
Sadly was the best one that I could do.
It seemed to have served you well.
As for... in most instances, I would... The best idea, I have no doubt that my elder brother would tell me, would be that The best thing to do would be to find my way back to the castle, but unfortunately, if I am to be a prize that is sought after by some foul villains, then the best thing I can do is take the prize off the table. So, until I know for certain that the danger is past, I am Zelda, she who apprentices under a scientist of Lake Hylia.
Well, the conspiracy behind your kidnapping and behind, and I glance over at Zaiden and back to her, your father's death. We believe that most of it has been vanquished, but there are remnants.
See. I'd only become aware of the passing of my father through occasional dialogue. Dr. Windle had spoken with an associate and then told me of the passing news. It was difficult to try and maintain a countenance of someone who has, shall we say, a middling respect for the royal family. But I will not
Truly
lie.
sorry for your loss.
I have shed my tears, and I am sure that when this danger has passed and I find myself back in the comforts of home, that I will shed more. But for now, it is all that I can do. I thought, after all, if I am to be an apprentice to a scientist, then I might as well make myself useful, which has brought me here. Kind of indicates the tree.
Your Highness, we can send you back to the castle, if you wish.
Not for now.
Are you certain? Because if news travels that there is a black-haired young woman going by the name of Zelda, there are other people, not just us, that can put 1 and 2 together.
I would be more comfortable if I would be more comfortable returning at the very least under 2 conditions. 1, I would need to know exactly, when you say that most of the conspiracy has been dealt with, that does not inspire confidence that all of it has been dealt with. What remains?
We believe that the sisters, Cassandra and Delilah Summerborn, are holed up somewhere in the rebelling villages. Beyond that, the 3 lords of the Twilight Cartel, the conspiracy behind your kidnapping, they have, in attempting to resist their apprehension, been taken down.
I see. Well, I would certainly feel more comfortable if these sisters had been taken care of.
So would I, and given that we were investigating your whereabouts, by the way, in the process of doing so, we did encounter Torquin, and we did eliminate him as well.
Right.
However, finding you was of a higher priority than apprehending the Summerborn sisters.
I do not begrudge you in the fact that the Summerborns are still active. I merely state that if they are still an active threat, then me returning to the castle only provides them with a fresh opportunity for a target. I'm also quite worried over the fate of my brothers.
Your eldest brother is struggling with the reins of command.
I had thought as much. Marius had always talked a big game, but otherwise he was terrified of responsibility. I think he
would do well with the return of his sibling.
I'm sure he would. But that leads me to another instance. Something that is currently occupying most of my attentions.
The infection.
Yes.
We believe that it has something to do with a parasitic infestation by Goma. We've, on our way here, we came across a veritable colony of it.
I see. That would also...
Sorry, but they also have some fungal samples and things with the doctor that we were accompanying. There's a lot more information now than there was before. So, not to interrupt.
What's up with the trade then?
Well, that actually backs up something of my own theories. And she kind of looks to the tree. The tree itself is a fairly large and healthy specimen. One that looks...
It's a lone tree.
It is a lone tree. It is, in fact, besides the grass on the island, it is the only other vegetation that exists. And she says, the Goma parasite is capable, if what you say is true, is capable of infesting any form of life form. At least that's what I understand from my readings and from what little memories I have of that have been provided to me as a blessing as part of my bloodline. The Goma is a problem, and given the wide variety of life that exists within the waters of Lake Hylia, it'd be a veritable feast for such things. I would have assumed that with the Hylia settlement being beset by this disease so fiercely that any other plant life or animal life that would exist within Lake Hylia would be similarly affected. But this tree, and she indicates it, stands firm and free of infection, and I have something of a theory of mine that links to it. And she kind of like scans over the group briefly and is going to insight check each and every one of you. Her eyes settle on Zayden and the kind of like the garb that he wears and his countenance and everything, and she kind of like narrows her eyes briefly and says, would you perhaps be one whose magic comes from nature?
Yeah. Not something people normally pick up on.
There's an air about you. It's difficult to perceive in some cases.
You smell like plants.
There is that, yes.
Oh no.
But
Well, that's not in character.
that's fine. That's okay.
That was a Korok floating by in the wind.
She then kind of like gestures to the south and says, I take it you are familiar with the Lost Woods to the south, yes?
As much as most people are.
And she indicates to the tree again and says, this tree, it bears a striking resemblance to some of the trees that naturally grow within the Lost Woods. While I've only ever been to the fringes before, there was some magical aspect to it, as if it was fueled by nature's defiance itself. It's as if it can't easily be afflicted by the Goma, which would explain why it seems unaffected by anything else that might have occurred. That isn't to say that the Goma don't try and thrive within the Lost Woods. There's plenty of life for it to infect, but I have a theory as to where some of this might have come from.
Oh?
But there's only one problem, and that's being able to navigate the Lost Woods themselves. There's a magical effect over the woodlands to protect the spirits that lie within, or at least something within. They're called the Lost Woods for a reason, and it's that when you enter, it is very rare that you ever leave. And if you do leave, you have no idea how you got there. You could walk in a straight line and come back out exactly where you had found yourself entering. If you come out at all.
Hmm.
Your theory requires you head to the center of the woods?
I think so.
What is it that you need to find there?
The issue becomes whether or not, and as she begins to mutter, I'd like everybody to make for me a perception check.
Okay.
Come on, +1.
Natural 20 for a total of 30.
19.
Mara doesn't see anything. So everybody except Kai and Mara, you notice that there are unnatural ripples in the water around the island.
Was it long enough getting here to count as a short rest?
It took you about 20 minutes.
What if Kai was rowing? What if Kai was doing the navigating? I'll leave it thinking rest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you count. If you count short rest also for the journey from Blackmoore to Lake Henny every station.
I don't think active travel counts as rest.
Yeah.
Need a caravan for that.
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. Oh no.
You try resting on a cross-country hike.
Cannot be done.
See how restful that is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, as Princess Sophia also seems fairly oblivious to the ripples in the water. But
When I
Poseidon
see
will-
the ripples, I immediately turn to them and I grab aspiration.
Poseidon will stand between Princess Zelda and the ripples.
okay, they're completely surrounding the island, so you'll have to you'll have to.
Vessel position himself in a different protective spot.
Okay, I guess we'll ask the princess to stay close to the tree. At least that blocks one line of sight.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Movement.
Also,
Max is just staring in the water.
If I have the time for it, I will look to Kai and say, "Protect the princess."
Okay, I know, I don't know, because I know he's getting the map set up, how Artie wants to run this in regards to, like, surprise or things, since I didn't perceive it. But on the other hand, I think Kai is cognizant enough to go, well, yeah.
Like you guys, like the group noticed and alerted everybody else, so
Okay.
there won't be a surprise round.
Cool.
But as the
not be
ripples,
a surprise round anyway.
yeah,
For I have a
because you,
stick of warning.
yeah, you
Oh,
can't be
yeah.
surprised. So as the ripples kind of like pull aside, you can see the heads of what appear to be River Zora, but they seem to be disfigured, where one of their eyes is larger and more orange and hideous looking. And I will pull
I had
everybody to the
expected
map.
Lizalfos. Brothers.
You expect wrong.
I expect
No,
wrong.
Hikan's not there to get their nice gloves.
Yeah.
And I would like everybody to roll for me some initiative.
All
no,
right.
start out.
Natural 20 on initiative.
Nice.
Would you like to go first or first?
Yes, please. if I might.
Let's see, so Sophitia roll. Oh, poor Sophitia. Mara, how are you going to do this? 19, not bad. These dudes. 4. Okay.
Okay.
Alright, descending. Let's get some music going, and we'll,
Kinda wish I traded places with Renji.
Okay.
There's more people over there.
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So, top of the round. Renji, it's your go.
Okay. Eldritch Blast on this one, and this one.
Got it.
And here we go. First one, 19.
That hits.
Come on. Oh dear. Doesn't want to roll damage for some reason.
Oh no.
Roll 1d10. 1. Okay.
Don't have that invocation for your charisma?
Nope.
Okay.
Don't have that evocation.
There it
Natural
goes.
20 on Eldritch Blast, second one. That is a total of 11 damage.
Okay.
That would be a critical if it was cursed. It's a 19 on the dice.
Ah.
Oh, my bad. Then just 3 damage, unfortunately.
I'm sorry, Renji.
It's okay. And the second one is 8 damage. So 1, 3, 8.
Got it. Okay. Like as they kind of rise up, the forceful Twilit energy escapes from you, flying off and slamming into the sides of these ones. The top one has a glancing blow as it kind of like slides to the side in the water, but the other two are more direct hits. So, and they kind of just kind of screech from the pain. Did you want to move or do a bonus action?
Let's see what I can do with the bonus actions. No, I don't think I will.
Okay.
I will not move out of the way. I will stay here right now.
Okay. Zayden.
Would I be able to get all of those 4 in a cone?
Maybe. So let's say. So,
Cone's the hardest one to draw.
Yes, they are.
yeah,
Start
you.
from one's like the space next to you.
Yeah.
So it'd start from here. And it would go in a triangle from there to there,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay. In which case I can hit all 4 of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Cast it.
Biden will slam down his quarterstaff and channel the blizzard. A cone of cold and engulf all 4 of them.
Ooh, kind of cold. Interesting. Okay. So, going from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of them fail.
44 cold damage for all of them.
Oh,
The
I do love God of Cold.
The water before them freezes over, and before they can sink to the bottom, they are caught within the sheet of ice and just remain there as frozen statues.
Oh, excellent.
Nice.
That
Very
remains-
nice.
Okay, we're at almost 60%. Little more.
If I move there, is that disruptive to Max's attacks?
No.
Okay, I'll go there for protection then.
Okay. Mara's go. Does Mara have anything that can do range? She can't.
Use a longbow, she can borrow my bow.
She is going to back up here to protect the princess, and she's going to arm her mace and ready an attack to strike at melee in case any of them attempt to leave the water. Max.
It's gonna point upwards to just rip the weather apart to make a storm sphere above us
Okay.
so that everything is within 60 feet.
Nice.
And I'm gonna, actually, I remembered I can upcast it, so I'm gonna cast it first.
Okay.
Ooh.
And I'm gonna get this guy up in the top right corner, because he's a bit more on that side, and
Okay.
want to clear out that side a bit more.
Okay.
I missed 11.
Ah, yeah. Unfortunately, the bolt careens off, just narrowly missing it as it attempts to dive back into the water. Yeah. So that was
That's
action.
me.
Okay. Guy.
Okay.
It's using 5th level stuff.
Yeah.
So clearly this is an island, which means that almost any direction is downhill.
It is, but technically by laws of physics. Well, technically by laws of by the spatial area around you, with Zora being on the surface of the water, they would be above you by the time they reached them.
That was my next question, was how shallow is the water?
It's pretty deep, actually.
Okay.
It's a sharp decline off the edge of the island there.
Renji's got that corner, and Max and Zayden can hit just about anything. So I am going to move the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to pull up there. I'm going to pull out my Warhammer and my shield, so my AC is 20,
Mm-hmm.
and pound on the shield. I presume I'm familiar with River Zora to know that they have a distance attack?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna take the dodge action then.
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
Alright, come on.
So,
My turn.
Riverzora's turn. Right, so we're gonna go down the line here. We'll start here, down here. This one at the bottom here. This one is going to, like, its mouth opens wide, and it rather haphazardly tries to spit a small ball of fire at...
Oh, darn it, I could have dodged as a bonus action. No, I couldn't have dodged as a bonus action. Never mind.
at Renji.
Uh,
Oh, at
doesn't
range
hit.
30, so it needs to... Oh, a sec. Is he actually in range? I need to see whether or not he moves
No.
forward. He's not. He's going to move forward at least.
3 squares.
He's going to move over there. Pah! It doesn't hit you,
Doesn't
though.
it?
The other one is going to... The other one is going to leap out of the water with superior swimming ability and is going to try and attack you in melee. Has a vicious spear. So it's going to thrust forward with the spear to try and strike you. It's a 21 hit.
It does hit.
You take 2
However,
piercing damage. Oh.
I will take that, yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's a little bit of a metagaming thing where I can already see the damage that I'm taking in order to decide whether or not I'm going to uncanny dodge.
That's fine.
That's the limitations of the system, I suppose.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then he's going to try and follow that up by trying to bite you with his vicious fangs.
Really?
Yeah, 18 to hit?
18 meets it.
Okay, so you take 4 piercing damage, and I would like for you to
Fine.
make for me a Constitution saving throw.
Really?
It's going to be an easy one. You can do it. I believe in you.
Oh, I
Level
believe in
one now.
myself. Ah!
Okay. I'll just note that down for later.
Oh no!
This Rivazora is going to try the fire spit thing on Mara, I think. Going to.
I only had a range of 30.
It does. So it's gonna clamber out the water and at your dear librarian, but gets a 5 and misses. This one's going to do much the same. It's going to move forward to the shore here. Max, you're in range for fire spit.
Oh, no.
Patui. I don't think a 12 hits.
I'm good.
This one's going to move forward ever so slightly. And I believe that puts it in range to do the same thing against Zayden. It's a nat 1.
Nat 1 and a nat 1 on the damage.
Yep. Then this one at the north is going to try the same thing against Kai. That's a 7. And then the other one's going to move into melee to try and spear and bite you. Spear.
Excellent.
Nat
Ooh,
20 for
18.
9? Oh, 18.
I took
Yeah.
dodge
It's a,
action, 18.
Oh,
it's a 18, so it misses.
Excellent.
And then it's going to try and bite you. For 9 and misses. Okay. So, seeing attackers all around, Princess Sophitia is going to raise a hand between both you and between both Max and Zayden towards the 2 that are over here on this shore, and with great effort and concentration is going to let loose a small spark from her finger, which travels behind them briefly before violently exploding.
Hey.
And then
Wait, what?
Hmm.
Is this dense fire?
It's fireball.
I mean,
Maybe.
yes.
yeah, but so they need to make a dexterity saving throw. 18 passes, 11 fails. So one of them just immediately disintegrates in the vicious flame, and the other one takes a grand total of 15 fire damage and looks very worse for wear. Okay, and that will be Sophitia's turn. Renji, back to you.
This guy got in range. I am going to just hack at him with my sword. That is a 12.
Unfortunately, is that a natural? No, that's not a natural one.
Is that not a natural one? That is a natural one.
natural
That is a natural one. Then it misses, I'm afraid.
It just misses. Okay. However, second attack is a critical hit.
That's again. If
Oh,
it
that's a
was
19. That's a 19 on a die. I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's okay. It's all good.
Uh,
So what's your damage?
my damage is the following. Apparently it rolled in D&D Beyond, so
Ah.
I need to re-roll it.
That's fine.
Roll D10. That is a 4 on the die, so 11 damage.
Okay, you swing your magical blade, and it cuts through the scales of this infected Zora that screeches and howls at you.
And then I'm going to disengage, bonus
Okay.
action.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move over here.
Okay. All right. Zayden.
Zayden shall.
Darn it, I should have had. Darn it, I should have had. I should still roll sneak attack damage.
Yeah, go for it.
That is 12 points of sneak attack damage on this guy.
Okay, that takes him down.
Yay! And that's me.
To be fair, these guys I'm not really worried about because, well, I'm here.
Yeah.
Don't worry, for I am here.
I'll aim an ice knife at this one up here.
Okay.
And I will even cast at second level.
13
13
hits,
to hit.
8, and then needs to make a dex save. 19 for further 7. Okay.
No, I think it just doesn't take the ice.
Oh, it just doesn't take it. Oh, okay. Interesting. It kind
Yeah,
of
it doesn't say half damage.
reels from the knife that hits it, sinks beneath the water briefly as the knife then explodes, and it manages to avoid further damage. Okay. Anything else you want to do on your turn?
I will use my bonus action to cast Shillelagh.
Okay. Mara is going to maintain the swing at the next thing that comes into range. Held action. Max.
I'm gonna send the next small sphere strike down on the guy right at the south.
Uh-oh.
What?
What?
Why are we owing? What happened?
Guy?
Yes, it's something specific to Kai.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Are you gone?
Oh,
I
they
can
made
hear
noise.
you.
Can you? Oh,
Good night.
no.
Okay.
Filled them up.
We'll
I'm gonna do the stone stairs right while wait.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome back.
Okay, that's
Oh.
20 for 23 against the guy right at the south.
Okay. That just there's there's a blast, like a pillar of water rises as the bolt makes contact, and just there is no more River Zora.
Oh,
And
good.
then for my main action,
Uh-huh.
I will point at this guy. And why not? Make him do a dex save, please.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yes, I'll use lightning bolt against a single thing. I don't care.
It's gone.
Very
Yay.
God.
It's just like the charred corpse of this thing just immediately carried off the island and plummets into the water a fair distance away.
Just boom, boom.
Yeah. There we
Who
go.
got rid of this one, by the way?
I did just now.
Just
Just
now.
now, with the lightning.
Yeah.
With the
this
storm
little
sphere as well.
sphere thing
Yeah.
was-
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah.
My bad.
And there we go. Kai, everything all good?
Kind of.
Ah.
I don't know how I'm coming in. Everyone else is little robot-y for me right now.
You're coming in crystal clear.
Excellent.
Just stop questioning it. It might hear you.
That's perfectly fair. Can I drop both items as like the free thing, or is it only one? I don't remember how the rules are on that one.
I'd say like if you're aiming to just drop both things in your hands, then yeah, that's fine.
Cool. So mechanically, that's what I'm doing. Flavor-wise, he drops his warhammer, stabs his shield into the ground, and goes, "All right, you done messed up right about now," and pulls out his maul.
Nice.
18 for 28.
Gone.
Splat.
Is like friggin' cartwheels in the air with the force and splats onto the ground before you.
So it's just these two, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I only have one more action, and so as part of that attack, I'm just gonna pull out one of these and chuck it at him. 18 for 7.
Okay, that hits.
Right. Alright.
And the axe finds purchase and sinks into the flesh of this creature, and yeah.
I know she doesn't need me, so from here, cool. I am going to move the 25 feet back here to get that guy closer to shore.
Okay. Right. So, on their go, this one's going to run up here in order to try and strike at it. This triggers Mara's held action. She swings the mace, but misses, sadly.
Oh.
And it's going to attempt to spear and bite at Max. So we'll spear Max. 22 for 6.
Hits.
Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll bite. 16 for 3.
Miss.
Okay.
Roll.
Yeah, fine.
Excellent.
This one's going to clamber onto shore, but only get that far, and will attempt another fire spit at Kai. 7 doesn't hit. This then is followed up by Princess Sophitia, who will turn, kind of brace herself against the tree because the fireball took a lot out of her, and she's going to point again at the River Zora and fling a firebolt, but it sails off overhead and sizzles into the water behind it. Renji.
I'm going to move over here. Hold on, let's see. Let me... Oh. That's 15, and then from here... Ooh. Okay, or I can do... Can't get to this guy, darn it. Okay, never mind. Just gonna move over here to make just a completely walled off area from Sophidia, and I'm going to slash once. That's
That hits.
26 to hit. Will do sneak attack damage. That is 9 plus 7 is 16.
That is enough to defeat it.
Okay. And then with that, I'm going to move over here to block again. So that he
Dash
can't.
is a bonus action.
Thank you. I can. Yes. Dash and then move over here to this guy.
Yep.
25 for 14 delicious radiant damage.
And that takes care of the last one. As the final creature sizzles and crumples to the ground, there is a moment of silence, and from the sounds of it, there doesn't appear to be any more. Or at least as much silence as there can be for the storm sphere up
That makes
ahead.
the storm stop rumbling so we can listen out.
Yeah.
Looking out across the water, I will, after like half a minute, extinguish the blade. Then turn to the princess and say, "It may be because of our presence that you were attacked, but I cannot guarantee that you will be safe if we leave." By the way, do I notice any like do I notice any like odd feeling after that that attack?
Roll a medicine check.
I will roll a medicine check. I think no.
It's there's kind of the like you've been stabbed and bitten before. This the general kind of thrumming pain that comes after it is feels about the same as it had been before.
We established that Kai is familiar with Goma attacks last session.
Yeah, both Kai and Zaiden are.
Alright, so at that point, Kai's just gonna be like, alright, anybody get hurt?
I kind of raise a hand.
Let's get you checked out before we get moving too far.
All right.
And then we can head off to a safer place if that's alright with Her Majesty.
I think if Kai wants to, I will just let him inspect me whilst I'm speaking to the princess.
Okay.
And I say, we cannot guarantee your safety here. If we were to leave and investigate further, either we make sure that we can get you back to the safety of the castle, where the guards are on high alert currently with the situation, or we accompany you. I don't see a third option here. I'm sorry.
Roll.
Sidon will raise a hand and say, there is a third option. If it'll get you out of trouble, I could probably take you within the Lost Woods.
Well,
Renji just looks at him wide-eyed. Are you serious? That is a cursed wood.
Only if you don't know the way.
And you do?
Yes, I'm...
What? How?
Stories of a misspent youth. Don't worry.
I wish Hikan was here so I could look exasperatedly at Zaiden and then at him. And go, get a load of this guy.
Sophitia will...
Max also looks confused because he's never heard about this either.
So Sophitia, who's tired, will, and like she's kind of like in the sense of like, okay, so two Sheikah, Goran, and a Hylian, and another Hylian turned up, and they're capable of magic and all that kind of stuff. And I've just left a Birdman's Tower a couple days ago. I'm not capable of surprise anymore, which is sad for a 14-year-old, but it's
she's a princess. It comes to territory, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it should be acceptable.
She simply says, venturing into the Lost Woods is one thing, but that's not what I was that's not why one would need to venture in there. And accompanying you, I fear that as much power as I may have in certain circumstances, I'm clearly not as battle-hardened as all of you. I would only get in the way. And if your task is to find and protect me, as was Nihilus's charge, then I would have to agree with Renji. It is not exactly the wisest idea to take me into Lost Woods. My recourse for going there was the solution to this problem, at least in the short term. If what you say about the Goma It is true, and certainly by these poor souls, she kind of just like looks around to the Zora, the ones who are still who haven't been charred or frozen or anything. Like at casual observation, they do appear to be Goma infested. She says, there is only one recourse, that there's only one swift solution to this sort of thing, at least one that would reduce the danger of the Goma, and that would be to find whatever it is that serves as their, I don't know, queen or central creature hub, I suppose, for their hive mind.
Laws are Red Ziden. Does that mean that we have to go back to Blackmoore?
I didn't see anything like that there.
Yeah, you would have known if you had found any kind of head Goma. While most Goma larvae tend to be very small, whatever is in charge of the local hive mind is very big.
You see, bacteria are what we doctors call very, very small.
Right. So, as I would like to propose something. If you let us know, Princess, what it is that we're supposed to be looking for, we can accompany, or Zayden here can lead us to what it is that we need to go through if we need to go through the Lost Woods to find it. We at least have a stopgap measure until we can find the Queen.
Yes. Well, that would be the solution. Find the queen, destroy it.
Okay.
I'm hoping.
Well, if we can get this stopgap measure, at least until we can find the Queen, I'm going to suggest that since you're not going to accompany us there because of your comfort, you stay at that research facility until we return.
Oh, I have every intention.
All right.
If possible, maybe one of the more well maintained corpses that we have here. That will be a suitable sample that we can bring back, perhaps. I'm hoping that Dr. Windle will be able to manufacture some form of vaccine that will be capable
Guys, will dodge this and say, "We'll have one do."
Yes, I think it will. There's a... If we can manufacture some kind of vaccine, with the cut-off of the hive mind, it's the capability of the infestation should halt the spread somewhat. If we can at least put a pause on the effects that it might be having on the Hylia settlement, then maybe, just maybe, we will be able to consider it a victory. But for now, this is the only thing I can think of.
Well, and then it sounds like we got a plan. Zayden, you're a bit more practiced with medicine. You want to give me a hand looking at Renji here? I think that there's this there, and I'd like to give Zayden the help action on the medicine check.
Okay. I shall roll a 22.
I'm just rolling up the sleeve of my tunic where I got bitten.
Yeah. You can see that there are parts of the wound that would indicate that he has been infected with the Goma.
Well, shit.
However, you have caught it really early, so it is treatable.
While you're treating it, Max will just drag the corpse over to the boat.
There we go. Very treatable.
Is coma a disease?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool. Just making sure.
I have like a...
That's one condition. Good.
Well, yeah, it's just one disease or condition.
Yeah.
I thank you for the generosity of putting this under the disease bar for the
I
purposes of healing.
have disease mechanics for Goma infestation
Oh,
right ready to go.
I do not want to know.
It's a horrific
don't.
thing.
You really don't.
You really don't want to know.
I really don't want to know. So when I feel the warmth of Zaiden's magic coursing through me is like, thank you very much. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
All right, now this is gonna hurt. Now pour antiseptic on it and wrap it up.
I just look at cure wound spells like, okay.
Would have appreciated a little bit more heads up on that.
Well, then you'd be expecting it. It'd feel worse.
No, that's... Why would you say that?
So yeah, as you tend to Renji's wounds and set about the future plans to potentially head into the Lost Woods, I think what we'll do is we'll call that session there for today. So thank you everybody so much for listening / watching. This has been ArticulateT with the Legend of Zelda D&D campaign, Hyrule Chronicles episode 89. With me as always, I have had Renji Vox being played by the Netherlad.
I'm cured!
I have had Kaikuana being played by Alvrans.
You know, for the bug arc, at least you got somebody with a giant squisher.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have had Zaiden Shari being played by Rubber Pirate.
Yeah, I was about to cast cure wounds, but I guess pain works just as well.
And I have had Max being played by Keistrith.
I was trying to think of something funny, but nah.
That's fine.
Nah.
It's Monday. It's okay.
It's always Monday.
I know it's always Monday. Monday will always be a valid excuse for not really wanting to put 100% energy into anything, no matter how brief or whatever subject it is, because it's fucking Monday.
Fair.
At least this is the good part of Monday.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys on the next Monday that we do this. So, yeah. Bye-bye now.
Bye.